A Frontline destroyer, one of the most capable surface combatants in the Japanese fleet. It sailed into the port of Davao on Saturday morning.
A Japanese warship has arrived in Davao City, and it's drawing attention across the Indo-Pacific. This isn't a cargo vessel, it isn't a humanitarian ship, and it's definitely not an ordinary port visit. Docked at the harbor right now is the JS Ikazuchi, one of Japan's frontline destroyers, built for modern naval warfare and capable of operating across sea, air, and underwater combat environments. Its arrival comes at a time when tensions across the Indo-Pacific continue to rise. Military alliances are rapidly evolving, and countries throughout the region are strengthening security partnerships at an unprecedented pace. But why Davao? Why now? And what message does this deployment actually send? Over the next few minutes, we'll break down what the JS Ikazuchi is, why its visit matters, and how moments like this may reflect the changing security landscape of Southeast Asia and the wider Pacific region. Early Saturday morning, around 9 a.m., the port of Davao and Sasa Harbor welcomed a visitor unlike anything most people there are used to seeing. The JS Ikazuchi, hull number DD-107, slowly entered the harbor beneath the skies of Mindanao. Waiting at the dock was the Philippine Navy's Eastern Mindanao Command, prepared for a full military reception. Flags raised, uniforms pressed, ceremonies conducted with precision, because visits like this are never random, and they're never just symbolic. The Ikazuchi is scheduled to remain in Davao for 3 days. Now, 3 days may not sound like a big deal, but in the world of naval diplomacy, even a short port visit can send a powerful signal. Every hour this destroyer stays docked in Davao sends a message to allies, rivals, and every nation watching the region closely. Lieutenant Commander Renate Velez, the Navy's public affairs officer, described the visit as a symbol of the growing friendship, trust, and cooperation between Japan and the Philippines. That's the official statement. But when official statements match what's actually happening on the ground, or in this case, at sea, people pay attention. And the Ikazuchi is not just any ship. She belongs to Japan's Murasame-class destroyers, the backbone of the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force. This vessel stretches more than 150 meters long, longer than 1.5 football fields, and weighs over 6,000 tons fully loaded. A floating fortress. Powered by advanced gas turbines, the Ikazuchi can exceed speeds of 30 knots, giving her the ability to move fast, respond quickly, and arrive before tensions spiral out of control. But speed is only part of the story. This destroyer is built for modern warfare, equipped with sophisticated radar systems, sonar, and advanced combat technology. The Ikazuchi can track enemy ships on the surface, defend against aerial threats, and hunt submarines beneath the ocean, above the water, below the water, and across the sky. This ship was designed to dominate all three, and that's what makes the Ikazuchi so dangerous and so valuable. This ship can do it all. It can fight enemy ships on the surface, track threats in the sky, and hunt submarines deep beneath the ocean. That level of versatility is exactly why the Ikazuchi is considered a frontline warship, not just a specialized support vessel, but there's more. The destroyer also carries a Sikorsky SH-60 Seahawk helicopter, a major force multiplier that dramatically expands the ship's reach far beyond the horizon. That helicopter can scout massive areas of ocean, conduct surveillance missions, deliver supplies, perform search and rescue operations, and even track enemy submarines underwater. In other words, the Ikazuchi isn't just a ship, it's a mobile combat platform operating across sea, air, and underwater domains all at once. And despite its firepower, the vessel was also built for something else the Indo-Pacific knows all too well: disaster response. Typhoons, earthquakes, maritime emergencies. When entire communities are cut off from help, ships like the Ikazuchi can deliver aid, rescue civilians, and restore critical support where it's needed most. That humanitarian role matters in a region where nature can become just as dangerous as geopolitics. But the real story isn't only about what this ship can do, it's about where it's been. Commander Nobukazu Ryuso, captain of the JS Ikazuchi, revealed that this visit to Davao is part of Japan's larger Indo-Pacific deployment, also known as the IDP. And this is where things start getting serious. Because this isn't some isolated goodwill visit, it's part of a much larger, carefully planned strategy. Japan has been steadily moving military assets across the Indo-Pacific, visiting multiple countries, entering key ports, and strengthening partnerships one stop at a time. The goal is clear: build presence, build trust, and show that Japan intends to remain a major security player in the region. Before arriving in Davao, the Ikazuchi had already traveled through several other countries, moving methodically across strategic waters. But one stop in particular stands out. Commander Russo confirmed that the ship recently participated in Balikatan 2026, the massive annual military exercise between the United States and the Philippines. And this year, the Ikazuchi joined bilateral naval drills west of Subic Bay. That detail matters more than most people realize, because Japan joining exercises alongside U.S. and Philippine forces isn't just symbolic cooperation anymore. It's evidence of something bigger taking shape across the Pacific. A growing trilateral security alliance, one designed to strengthen coordination, increase military interoperability, and send a very clear signal across the Indo-Pacific. These countries are preparing to operate together, closely, consistently, and at scale. Before the Ikazuchi leaves the Philippines, it won't just sail away quietly. The destroyer and Philippine Navy ships are set to conduct communication and interoperability drills in the waters of Davao Gulf. And that word, interoperability, carries serious weight in military circles. It means two armed forces are learning how to operate as one, sharing communication systems, coordinating movements, responding together in real time. These aren't ceremonial exercises designed for headlines or photo ops. They're about building instinct, building coordination, building the kind of operational trust that only matters when a real crisis unfolds. Because militaries don't practice interoperability for entertainment. They practice it because they believe one day they may actually need it. Lieutenant Commander Velez explained that the visit to Davao is mainly for logistical replenishment. Simply put, the ship needs fuel, supplies, and support before continuing its deployment. That's the practical explanation. But even practical moves can carry strategic meaning. Because the moment a Japanese destroyer relies on a Philippine port for operational support, the relationship becomes something deeper than diplomacy. It means the Philippines is becoming part of Japan's broader maritime network, a trusted link in an expanding chain of regional security cooperation. And when you zoom out, the bigger picture becomes impossible to ignore. The Indo-Pacific is entering a tense and uncertain era. The South China Sea remains one of the world's most volatile flashpoints. Confrontations at sea continue. Territorial disputes are unresolved, and the Philippines has become increasingly vocal and determined in defending its sovereign rights within its exclusive economic zone. At the same time, Manila has strengthened military ties with the United States while expanding defense cooperation with Japan, Australia, and other regional partners. Japan, meanwhile, is undergoing a major transformation of its own. For decades, Tokyo maintained a more restrained defense posture, but in recent years, Japan has steadily shifted toward a more active and outward-facing security role across the Indo-Pacific. And that's exactly why the arrival of the JS Ikazuchi in Davao matters. Because Davao is not Manila. This isn't the political capital. This is Mindanao, southern Philippines, positioned near some of the region's most strategically important waters. Its location, its maritime access, and its growing importance as a regional hub make it a highly meaningful stop for a warship like this. Choosing Davao instead of limiting the visit to Manila sends a message of its own. This partnership is expanding beyond diplomatic meeting rooms and government buildings. It's becoming operational, regional, grounded in real-world geography. And for the sailors involved, these exercises are deeply personal. Trust at sea isn't built through speeches. It's built by sharing radio channels during drills, by coordinating movements in open water, by relying on each other when conditions get unpredictable. Military partnerships are formed sailor by sailor long before they're written into official agreements. Of course, some critics argue that visits like this are mostly symbolic, and to a degree, they have a point. A destroyer docked in port does not automatically change regional policy. Military drills alone cannot solve the deeper tensions shaping the Indo-Pacific. But symbols matter. especially when those symbols arrive carrying radar systems, helicopters, combat capabilities, and growing alliances behind them. And honestly, that argument is fair. A single warship visit doesn't rewrite the balance of power overnight, but presence matters. In geopolitics, relationships are rarely built in one dramatic moment. They're built step by step, visit by visit, exercise by exercise. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. The JS Ikazuchi may be just one destroyer making one stop in one Philippine city, but it's also part of a much larger pattern unfolding across the Indo-Pacific, a pattern of deepening alliances, expanding military coordination, and nations preparing for an increasingly uncertain future at sea. Every port call matters. Every joint exercise matters. Every new layer of trust matters. Because when regional tensions rise, countries don't suddenly build partnerships from scratch. They rely on the relationships they've already spent years developing. And right now, those relationships are clearly growing stronger. The next few years could become some of the most important years for maritime security in Southeast Asia. The decisions being made today, quietly, steadily, sometimes far from the headlines, may shape the future balance of power across the region for decades. A Japanese destroyer spending 3 days in Davao City may seem like a small event on the surface, but in reality, it may be one small piece of a much bigger strategic shift already underway. And that leaves us with the bigger question. Do military engagements like this help preserve stability and deter conflict? Or do they risk escalating tensions even further in an already contested region? Let us know what you think in the comments.